Well, David Des Roches is a professor at the National Defense University and an expert in unconventional warfare. He joins us live from Washington, D.C. now. Welcome to the programme. So, put simply, what is Israel's overall military strategy in northern Gaza?
I think it's uncertain because their military strategy blends into a political strategy, and I think Netanyahu is unable to enunciate a political strategy because of the fractious nature of his coalition. But I think that their goals are to prevent Hamas or any organization in Gaza ever again being able to launch an attack into Israel. And at the same time, they want to avoid assuming the burden and the status of being the occupying power. So what that means is that they have to find a way to make Hamas or any successor organization incapable of coalescing into a military outfit, while at the same time somehow getting the Palestinian entity to govern this area and keep it quiet. It's a very, very difficult thing to do, and I'm not sure if they can pull it off.
Given what you say then, to what extent is Israel planning a future military strategy, even if a ceasefire deal is agreed?
Yeah, I think that what we're seeing take form is that they will probably seek to have a expanded buffer zone inside Gaza around the border with Israel. So an area that's basically clear that nobody will live in or be allowed in. And then I think they also plan to divide Gaza into at least two parts, probably three. So we're seeing the Netzarim corridor take place, and that will allow them, if there is a future insurgency, to hold one sector of Gaza, kind of keep that in abeyance, and then conduct operations in another sector.
So what are the practical tactics then that Israel is taking on the ground, as it were, right now?
Well, we've seen evidence of bulldozers clearing rubble. That allows a couple things. First off, it makes it harder. That Hamas has basically gone from being a semi-conventional force that can project power in Israel to a guerrilla force, an insurgency. So when you clear the rubble away, it makes it harder for them to plant bombs, to plant landmines, and to conduct ambushes. And it also allows Israel to shift forces more rapidly. That would allow Israel to reduce the number of forces and to ensure that their forces are at less risk when they operate. I think that's the main focus that we're seeing now. Of course, they are trying to find a way to root out Hamas fighters from the civilian population, but as your previous report showed, it causes an immense amount of damage that fewer and fewer people regard as appropriate or proportionate or legal.
Well, indeed. So are Israel's aims, as you mentioned, actually possible, this balancing act that you talked about?
I would argue it's extremely difficult. I mean, I don't see how underlying all of this is the political problem, which is Israel does not want to assume the role of the occupying power or assume direct governance of Gaza and the Palestinians within Gaza. And, a counterinsurgency are very rarely won by, they're not won by military means, particularly unless you're somebody like Stalin who can wipe out entire populations. So I don't see them being able to get the governance, the policing, the interpersonal reactions to separate guerrillas from the civilian population, unless they either intern the civilian population or find a way, assume authority for policing it. And that's something they don't want to do because that leaves them vulnerable to the accusation that they're an apartheid state.
David Des Roches, we appreciate your insights. Thank you.
Thank you.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.